Hi,
Hi, Charlotte, you're back. Sorry for that.
it's okay. So I'm trying to share my screen. I think I need some permission.
Eunice, are you there? Eunice?
Oh, there.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Wow, and they have come back very fast, 14 and counting. What
So
the
that's good.
is?
Okay. So we were talking about labor market information, and I remember the last word I mentioned was the fact that Kenya has discovered oil. How can that information be important to you as you plan for your career? You want to think about what positions they might want in an oil field, for example, so that you can now target on maybe training as an oil engineer or drilling engineer or any of those oil related roles. So you want to use such information. Think about the Juakali sector. It's booming. What is it that you can do about it? Are you a craftsy person? Are you a hands-on person? What is it that you can do? And I think it's also important to start thinking about creating employment opportunities for people, because if we all think about being employed, who is going to employ us? So we want to think about a good balance. Are we in a position to create employment for people in future, or do we want to be employed? So if you know that you have some great skills and you can use that to build an empire, why not? Okay, let's keep going. Employability skills. Now, this is so interesting. Young people who leave education today are on average more highly qualified than any preceding generation in history. True or false? It's true. Especially now, you can see we have many more PhDs, we have many masters, we have so many people who have graduated, we have so many people who have their high school certificates, so many people are going to school, so many people are graduating. So, and it's very different from, let's say, 30 years ago when PhD was very rare, and masters and not so many people in that. But now we have more and more and more people registering for these courses. Now they often enter the workforce with considerably more years of schooling than their parents or grandparents. True or false? Again, that's true. More people are schooling now. So many people are spending so much time in education. In Kenya, I know the system has changed now, but we used to have like 844 some years back, where you will spend, okay, some people go to nursery school for maybe 3 years, then you have the 8 years in primary, 4 years in high school, 4 years in uni, 2 years in masters, maybe 4, 5, 6 years in PhD. It's a lot of years. I think by the end of the day, it could be around 16 years or something. A lot of years just spent in education. Now, in spite of completing an unprecedented number of years of formal education, young people continue to struggle in the job market. And governments continue to worry about the mismatch between what societies and economies demand and education system supply. So is the education system supplying what the economies demand? That is one. Number two, how employable are our teenagers right now? Now, there was a time I had a coaching session for leadership, and we ended up spending some time looking at generations, where we have the veterans, people who may have participated in world wars. They were very disciplined and they demanded discipline. So they were very different type of people to work with. I think most of them have retired right now. But if you look back, if you think about grandfathers or something, they were very strict. It's all about what happened when they were growing up. Then we look at baby boomers. Now, these are people who were born, I think, around 1960s, or they're kind of retiring now, maybe around 1950 something to 1960s. They are 60s now, they're 70s, they're about. Now, these people are very different as well because they really believe in coming together. So if you happen to have worked with such people, you realize they like to come together. If somebody is going through something, let's come together, let's support. And they're very hardworking as well. Then we have the next generation that follows them. I think it's the Xers or something. They're also very, hardworking, and they were born at a time when a lot of things started happening in life, things like divorce and blah, blah, blah. So they have that little bitterness that comes with it. But then we have the millennials. They are very different. Now, sometimes people create or crack jokes on how to, deal with millennials at work. But I think it's also just because of the timing. They are born at a time when we have computers and we have phones and we have options and we have rights and a lot of things happening. And they are just managing in there as well. But how employable are they? We can't compare these people because everyone grew up at a different time. Everyone was born at a different time. But what is it that makes somebody employable? What are the skills that you have apart from your technical skills? So we have technical skills on one side, we have soft skills on the other side. Technical skills are those skills that you acquire by staying in class and learning. So you want to be a teacher, you need to learn about the teaching philosophy. You need something about curriculum development. Now, those ones are technical skills. And then we have soft skills like leadership, for example, or something like resilience. That's a soft skill, or adaptability. That's a soft skill. Now, soft skills are transferable. You can transfer soft skills. Some soft skills are acquired through experience. So you've been late for a flight, you are left by a flight, you learn time management. So sometimes you learn through experience, sometimes you can actually sit in class and learn a soft skill as well. But it is good to have a balance of both. So have your technical skills, but acquire some soft skills as well. And according to research again, most employers are looking for employees with great soft skills. So those are some of the things you want to think about. You don't have to wait to acquire soft skills. You can start acquiring them slowly, gradually. How resilient are you? How patient are you? Time management, organizational skills, things like that are transferable so that you can make yourself employable by the time you're supposed to find that employment. Teens and tech, I love this. Teens and tech, how are teens using tech? Now, so many people think that teens and tech should not be put in one sentence. I believe that teens and tech should always be put together because teens can use tech to get to their goals. It just depends on how you're using your tech. If you're a teenager and you're in here, use your tech and have fun. But always remember that whatever gets into the internet never gets its way out. It stays there. And I have seen people who so many years down the line, they cannot get employed because of what they had put in the internet very many years back. So be careful even as you use your tech. And the other thing is you can actually leverage your social media platform to register a very strong presence and talk about the things you're passionate about. If you're passionate about being a pilot, talk about it on social media. Start to get people knowing about what you're passionate about. If you're a great artist, present, draw something, put it on social media. Let people start to see the wonderful things that you're able to do. And you never know where that will take you to. But also network responsibly on social media. You can use platforms like LinkedIn, where you want to be seen on the professional side so that people start to know about you. I like the fact that most parents wait until their young ones are 18. I think that's a good idea when they feel that they are more confident with what they're doing. And also, with parenting, your kids just show up sometimes. But let's keep going. So teens and tech is very important because it is through tech that most teenagers can now network and talk to people who may not be around. Now, the other thing that you can do with your tech as a teen is to find an opportunity for informational interview. Now, informational interview is when you ask somebody who is doing something to sit down with you and talk to you about it. So you want to be a pilot. You can find a pilot through social media. I like LinkedIn for that. And then, you know, this pilot can have an opportunity to talk to you about what they do as a pilot. And in this specific case, I would advise that parents be on the front line. So find that person for your teenager. Don't let them look for this person on their own. Help them to trace this person and be there as they talk about what it is that they do. So if your child wants to be a pilot, as a parent or as a guardian, take that opportunity and find somebody who can talk to your little one about being a pilot. And if they have to go to an office or something, at least be there with them, show them that support. Get to know what this other person is saying to your young one about whatever job that they're doing. And it's going to really, really help, because in a way, you're going to give your teen an opportunity to have a mentor who can hold their hand someday in the future and show them how things are done. Okay, career guidance. I'll ask a quick question. Just type yes or no. Does career counseling make a difference? So I asked you to type, but do you know, I haven't even been checking if anyone has typed anything there. I'm sure somebody will tell me if anything is typed there. So, or you can actually use those little icons and put your hand up. So do you think career counseling makes a difference? And how many of you have been seeing career counselors before? I think it really does create a huge difference. Every day, our teenagers make important decisions that are relevant to their future. In a world where things are changing so fast, you surely need somebody to hold your hand. And that's where a career counselor comes in. Somebody who can ask you the right questions to understand what it is that you want and show you the right direction with regards to where you should go, what you should do. So you want to be proactive enough to find help. You also want to be proactive enough to do a research so that by the time you go to a career counselor, you have an idea, okay? So a key source of motivation for students to study hard is to realize their dreams for work and life. And with young people staying in education longer than ever and the labor market automating with unprecedented speed, students need the help to make sense of the world of work, okay? And then that means we need to think about some career development activities. And these ones actually really help. Help your teenager to participate in career development activities like internships. You know, they're done with Form 4, they're waiting for something, or maybe they're done with their college. As they wait to get a job, let them enroll for internships. And in those internships, they're going to network and somebody's going to see how great they are. And you never know, maybe that's how they'll get a job. Ask them to job shadow. Job shadow simply means they're going to work with somebody who is an expert in an area. So they're going to learn as they watch. You know, if let's say they want to do something in manufacturing, let them go there and see it for themselves. I've heard of stories of business people who introduce their children to business by having them help in their shops. You know, so you have your child in the shop there. As you do things, they're looking at you, they're observing, they're asking questions, you're giving them the right answers, they're learning in the process. So it really does help. And then we have worksite visits. Somebody wants to be a teacher, let them get into a school and feel that environment of being in a school, that environment of being in a class. I think growing up, I enjoyed a lot of that because my mom was a primary school teacher and I was in the same nursery and she was in the primary section. And every day after class, I would go to my mom's class and just observe as she teaches. As little as I was already building, you know, dreams on how I would be as a teacher, because I was seeing it, I was feeling it, and it actually does really, really help. And then we have attending job fairs. If there, I know with the pandemic, we might not have a lot of those activities, but in future, or now, we do have some online. I see a lot of job fairs virtually. Let your child attend and see what it is that they can learn from there. Talking with the career advisor, like I mentioned in the previous slide, doing informational interviews, I mentioned that as well, conducting self-awareness assessment. And this is something that Beatrice had already started talking about. And that's why I said, oh, we need to get her back because we really need to hear from her. So doing that self-awareness, understanding who you are, what you're capable of doing, what excites you is very, very important. And then researching the internet for information about careers. There's a lot of information on internet. Internet is not 100% bad. It just depends on what internet is good. It just depends on what you do with it. So if you use internet properly, it's going to give you the information that you really, really need. And then I should have added volunteering. I'm actually shocked it's not here, but volunteering is so important as a career development activity. We don't have to work for money. Sometimes you want to work for experience. I saw somebody post on Facebook the other day that where do employers want people to get experience from? Maybe from volunteering. So if you have an opportunity to volunteer, go and volunteer and build experience. It might not be easy to volunteer for 10 years because you're building 10 years experience that the employer wants, but it does help to just get that little exposure. I remember when I came to Canada, I started as a volunteer where people started to see my skills. When you volunteer, you are in a way showing people what you are capable of doing. And without knowing, I think for me, volunteering has worked several times. I remember one time I was volunteering in London. I ended up being hired there because I gave them an opportunity to see what I'm able to do. They liked it and they said, you know what, we want to pay you. So have your teenagers volunteer, even if it is a few days a week or during holidays once a month or in church or in some organization nearby. Let them do something that puts meaning to their lives. Do you have any questions?
Wow, wow. That is smart.
Wonderful.
We were just watching and watching. Eunice?
Go on, Daktari.
Okay, participants, any question, any comments? Daktari, that was powerful, powerful presentation. I did not want to miss even 1 second of it. I am actually learning with the teams and the youth in the house. Perfect, excellent. It's nice to hear that. Participants, any question, any comments?
Maybe, Daktari, you'll give
Let's see the chat.
2 minutes to finish.
Okay, okay. Beatrice, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Apologies
We give
for
you
the
2 minutes.
Yes, apologies for the
Do
earlier.
not worry.
Yeah, it was network issues that I encountered.
It's all right. 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I can finish up on. Let me see if I can share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
you can.
Yeah, so I think I had touched on the self-discovery part and self-development. So we were at self-mastery. So after self-development, you go to self-mastery, which is the ability to recognize, understand, control, and make the most of your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self. So this is gained through self-awareness, understanding, and control over thoughts, emotions, and actions. So at this point now, you are able to take control over your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. You are able to respond to whatever it is that is around you in a controlled manner. So you are not controlled by maybe your feelings or how you perceive things. So after self-mastery, you get to self-actualization. This is seeking personal growth through peak experience in order to realize your full potential and reach self-fulfillment. It is the state of being when a person can confidently say, I am being all that I am, and I am all that I was meant to be. So at this point, whatever you are doing, you are sure you are doing it because it is something that you want to do. It is something that you know you are capable of doing, and it is something that you already know what you need to work on for you to be able to achieve it. So once you reach self-actualization, you can now say that you know your self-identity. And also something very important in the 4 phases of self-development is that it's a cycle. Like you cannot say that you've developed yourself like once. It is a cycle that you will always find yourself discovering something about yourself, something new that you never knew that you can do. It is always something that is going to keep on happening. Today you might discover that you are good in doing something, you work towards it, and you end up achieving it. 2 years down the line, now you discover that now there's another line that if I get to this one, I can also do better. So it is something that will always continue happening. It is not a one-off event. So talking about self-identity, so this is how you see and identify yourself. It is a combination of personal traits, beliefs, values, physical attributes, abilities, aspirations, and other identifiers that make you who you are. Your self-identity is the way that you see yourself and is closely related to your self-concept and self-image. It affects the way you feel about yourself and how you behave in challenging situations. And self-concept is how you perceive yourself. It is the perception of yourself that leads to the way you define and identify yourself and the perception on your relationship to others. And self-image is how you see yourself, the mental picture that you have of yourself, how you view and assess your strengths and weaknesses. Because for you to say that you know yourself and you can really talk about your identity, you must also know about your strengths and weaknesses. What can you do and what it is that you need to continue working on or improve on, or something that you know that this is something that I have to live with. And some people tie their self-identity to their occupation only. And for example, if they lose their job, they end up struggling to find their self-identity again. For example, you say that I'm a health worker, for example. So when I talk about myself, I only talk about something to do with being a health worker. So what if tomorrow, like I'm doing something different? How will I now go back to identifying myself? So you find that you will take a bit of time to identify yourself again. So it means that
Yes.
self-identity is not, yes?
Yes, 1 minute, please.
Okay.
Because of Zoom issues.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Go on.
Okay, thank you. So self-identity should not be something that you only tie yourself to one thing. It is something that everything that is about you, from your values to your goals in life, to your beliefs, to your principles. So it is everything that has to do about you. That is how you can say that you now reached a point of self-identity. So after identifying yourself, so what is your focus in terms of your self-identity? So where do you choose to focus your self-identity on? Is it your occupation, your friends, especially with the youth? You tend to like identify yourself with what your friends are doing. So when someone when your friend is doing something, so you find that you also want to go to that path, yet maybe your path is different. But because you are close to your friends and you do things most of the time together, you find that your self-identity is tied to your friend. Maybe it is tied to your studies or your beliefs. So what will you choose to focus on? But for self-identity, it is good to focus on all aspects of your life so that you don't find it difficult in case of one thing or the other. And when your focus is right, you'll be able to do anything you want, choose any career of your choice, explore your hobbies without focusing only on the reward. For example, doing a job you don't want just because the reward is better as compared to doing a job that you're passionate about and can perform very well just because it is less rewarding. And with the current digital world that Charlotte has talked about, it is easy to get information on various issues from career to personal development. But at the same time, you have to be cautious. You must be careful because the internet has so much information. So it can easily mislead the youth, especially if you go with the modern social media pressure that you're currently having. So it is good when you know your focus, you know what you can be focusing on. For example, now with the famous Instagram and Facebook, you can choose. If you see that whatever you are focusing on or whoever you are following there is like giving you too much pressure that you can't keep up, you can actually choose not to follow them or even block them so that you only focus on what is doing you like something that is helping in your growth, in your development, and is helping you in your career, helping you career-wise. So, and that brings me to the end of my presentation. In case of any questions, yeah, I'm still here.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope we are clapping for our presenters wherever we are. Thank you. Thank you so much, Beatrice. At least the second session, we were able to get you quite clearly. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Participants, I can see feedback, a lot of positive feedback. People are saying that this is amazing forum that we have today. Any question? But maybe before I give the participants, I want to ask Dr. Charlotte one question here. Somebody who has asked me on my phone. We have teenagers who are choosing subjects currently in high school. Dr. Charlotte, what is your advice for them? Where is the line between career and subjects as we talk now? Subject choices in high school in the Kenyan context.
Okay, so that's a very interesting question there. Most people end up barely surviving in high school. They are looking for whatever it is they can do to get an A so that they get to the university. I think it's most people have that in mind, but I feel like having something in mind really does help, because I know of people who tried that path, and then when they get to university, they have a specific course they want, but they failed in Kiswahili or they failed in English, and now they can't do it. So you want to start from thinking about what it is that you want to do and align it to how you've been performing. So if you've been failing in physics, for example, it would be meaningless for you to think of something that needs physics as a backbone. So think about what it is that you have been performing well in and how that can help you shape a career so that you don't struggle. You don't want to pick something that you're going to struggle with. You want to pick something that matches with your comfort levels. So as you pick on a subject, think about how you've been performing on subjects and then create a realistic goal for yourself. That's how I would go about it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We are still hoping participants, you're going to type. You can type questions. This is now an interactive session that we have. Please type your question. You can unmute, you can raise up your hand, use whatever way to attract attention on question. Beatrice, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
You are in the nutrition world. What opportunities are there? Are there opportunities in the nutrition community? You know, what opportunities do we have?
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities actually, because nutrition and community health, like it is generally health. So anyone who is like interested in the field of health, because field of health is quite wide, you can be in the hospital setup, you can be in the community setup. And the community setup, we have the like community health and development, we have the public health side of it. So it is a matter of you knowing like which part are you interested in. Because for example, if you say that you are in the hospital setup, you can go for nutrition, because nutrition, it is both. You can be in the hospital setup and you can still be in the community setup. So it is you to choose like which one are you comfortable with. And then, you know, like now which course can I do? For example, let's say you want to do something like clinical medicine. So clinical medicine is mostly the hospital setup. But when you go to some NGOs, you can also do a bit of the community, but it is mostly now the hospital setup. But there's a lot of opportunity. The field of health is like wide. It is very wide, and you have a lot of courses that you can choose from. But what you have to know to do is like you must be sure of what you want. For example, you can't. For clinical medicine, let me compare clinical medicine and community health and development. Both of them are in the field of health, but they are like a bit different, because clinical medicine requires a lot and the requirements are also a bit higher as compared to community health and development. So you need to like do a research and know like which one can I go with. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Charlotte. I am asking these questions on behalf of the participants as I wait for them to ask. In this house, in this forum today, we have students who are in the university. I could be having my students here from the University of Embu. They're already doing courses, so they're already enrolled to courses. What's your advice for them? Do they limit themselves to the line they are taking, or how open should they become once they graduate? Over to you, Charlotte.
So most students, and I heard you say you are in English, just like I was, and most of my students who did English thought that if you do English, you have to be a teacher. Now, I would advise students to research on the many other things they can do. You know, some of these courses people limit themselves in terms of what they can do with them. But if you do a deeper research, we call it career cruising. And Beatrice has mentioned some of those. You can actually do so much with the course that you're doing. Think about the technical skills that you need for that job and the soft skills. What is it that you can transfer from one side to another? So that is something a university student should start thinking of. I'm imagining that by the time they decide on a specific course, they know what they want to do with it. What they need to do now is to expand their horizons. So think about, what else can I do? What is my plan B? So that you don't end up in a situation where you didn't get a job in what you wanted, and then now you became depressed. Think about what else you can do with that job. I'm seeing a lot of opportunities in teaching right now. If you're in teaching, for example, you don't have to teach in class, you can teach online, and many other, you know, other things you can do. And if you are in health, think about, what else can I do with my health? If you don't want to be a nurse in the hospital, what else can you do with that nursing certificate? So there is always room for something else that you can do, but you have to dig deep and find it.
Thank you. Before you go, there is a question from Claire. Claire is asking, what advice do you have to those who are about to graduate, especially STEM undergrads, and searching for internships or master scholarship? Advice on internships and scholarships for those who are about to graduate.
So for those who are about to graduate, start networking like crazy. Find somebody who is working somewhere and talk to them. That's what we call informational interview. Ask them what they do, and, you know, employment and things like that. Don't ask them if they can hire you. That's not a good thing for an informational interview, but do that. The other thing about scholarships, they are there. Just Google. I know of that scholarship in Germany for a long time, opened doors for Kenyan students. So you can look at that. USA has a lot of universities that have opportunities for Kenyan students. Go look for those as well. And then we have scholarships even within the country. So Nairobi University, those big universities in Kenya, they have a lot of opportunities. I'm sure even Dr. Judy can tell us about Embu. And you want to look at that. When you look for scholarships, think about partial scholarships as well, where there's a percentage of money that has been paid. And then what is left is something that you now want to figure out. It's better than zero. And then think about use LinkedIn as well to reach out to people. So you want to reach out to the right people who will take you where you need to go to. Sometimes also, before you go for masters, think about what it is that you want to do. Some jobs just require another license. So some of the licenses might take you maybe 3 months or 4 months and you're done with the license, and then you get the job. So before you get into doing it, think about what it is that you want to do with it. I've seen people who went all the way to PhD, and then now they don't know how they're going to use their PhD because nobody needed their PhD skills at that stage. So before you register for a course, have a plan. What is it that you want to do with that course by the end of the day? And then register for it. So with regards to scholarships, even Canada has. The only thing is Canada likes to think about citizens and permanent residents first before it thinks about anyone outside. But yes, I've seen people who have, got very good scholarships in Canada as well. So try looking at other countries, but don't forget Kenya, because Kenya does have as well.
Thank you. Claire asking, how do we get the two presentations? I'm sure Dr. Charlotte and Beatrice, you are going to share the presentation with us so that we can share them to our participants. Nokia 4.2 is asking, what if you are not performing in a certain subject and your career needs you to take the subject? What do you do?
So very quickly, I would say that study skills is very important. Find help. So it could just be, maybe you're not performing well because you didn't organize your time well for studies, or something is distracting you, or maybe it is the teacher. You just never know. But find out what it is that makes you not perform well in that subject. And then from there, you can find what it is that you can do. Sometimes it's the teacher, sometimes it's the timing, sometimes you're going through so much and you're not focusing well. So don't blame it on yourself, but find a solution for it. And then always think of plan B and plan C. It's always important.
Wow, thank you. Plan B, don't stick to one. I've put my number there. Eunice will also put her number in case you want the presentation. You get to us through WhatsApp. Somebody is asking about opportunities in international relations. What opportunities are there? What's your advice?
So with regards to opportunities in international relations, it depends on what you want to do with it. So are you looking for it so that you target some role somewhere? So think about what you want to do before you decide on the specific course. So what is it that you want to do with international relations first, and then think about the course. So don't start with the course, then you look for what that course can do for you. Think about what it is that you want to do, then get to the course.
Wow, fantastic. Our listeners, any other question? Beatrice, thank you, Charlotte. I will still come back to you. Beatrice.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
The question of age and career. At what time should our teenagers start thinking about career? Class 8, Form 1, what is the ideal age when they start focusing on career?
Our time is less than a minute. Sorry.
Okay.
Everyone.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
Less than, but I can say from, let's say from class 8, you start thinking of what do you want to do. Then by the time you are getting to high school, now you refine it, because it is high school now when you'll be choosing the subjects and everything now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like the way also to add to that, Charlotte keeps saying that look ahead, what do you want to do? So that whatever else you do is shaped by that. So thank you so much. Our facilitators, Dr. Charlotte, Beatrice, we are so impressed. I think we can go on and on